Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Rising Stars. I'm your interim host, Sean Watt. Michael will be back in the future. This production sponsored by Urban Eats MTL. I have a very special guest with us today. She's from Ottawa, just arrived in Montreal about a week ago, and we're looking to get some networking opportunities for her. Emna Lassoued. Welcome to the show.
Welcome. Thank you, Sean.
Let's talk about how we met. So you go through.
Yeah. So I randomly posted because I knew I was moving to Montreal.
Yeah.
I'm moving here for school, and I'm also moving to start my acting career more seriously.
Are you studying anything for acting? Is that what it is? Or
No, I'm not. I'm actually studying business at Montreal.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm trying to have two things going on for me, right? So acting, and then also something. I love business. I love entrepreneurship. So I'm trying to get into that in the future.
Nice.
So I'm trying to do both at the same time. So what was the question? Sorry.
Yeah, no. So it's how we met. So
yeah.
It was
okay. So I was trying to network online. I was trying to meet people and stuff. Thinking of getting into acting classes. So then I posted something online. I was like, "Does anybody know good acting classes?" And I remember,
Montreal,
I remember you reached out, and then you messaged me. You told me if you need anything, let me know. And I was like, I really appreciated that message.
Well, the one thing that I find is that's one of the best ways to network is when someone's asking suggestions. Why?
Definitely.
Because when you actually go back to those groups and you look at the comments, very little people give a damn, pardon my language, about someone who's like, oh, hey, I'm just looking for advice or looking for networking. You know what I mean?
For sure.
And I've actually booked roles just by responding to someone who's like, oh, hey, roll call, I'm looking for this. Recently I just booked a commercial for JBL
Congrats.
headphones.
Stop.
To be shown in the airport, right?
So
Which is
cool.
crazy, but
Oh
it's because
God.
I reached out and it was just like, hey, I'm interested, and he shot me a message.
This
You know
industry,
what I mean?
this industry revolves around networking.
Yeah.
That's all it is, right? Because I was telling you earlier, if people don't know who you are, why would they book you?
But you need to also network with people who are on the same wavelength as you in terms of personality, right? So it's you're not just going to network with anything that moves. You're not going to be like, hey, you come here.
No, for sure. You have to.
You need to have that certain chemistry and you know what I mean?
Definitely.
And being okay, I believe in you as much as you, you believe in me.
I also trust you.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
If I get a weird vibe, I'm not gonna go into anything that I do on my personal time,
And that's the thing, right? So you got to be very careful when it comes to certain things like that. But a lot of very cool and interesting things can happen.
For sure.
You might respond to someone where maybe 3 years, 4 years down the line, hey, I want to book you because you're just being a nice person. When people are asking those questions online, just be a genuine person. Give your honest response.
Definitely, that's something I'm gonna take away from you.
Yeah.
You see, I'm gonna take it away.
Just
for
be
sure,
genuine though. Don't be weird about it.
No.
Right?
Do I give you that vibe?
Yeah.
That I'm weird?
No, of course not.
Okay.
But so you're from Ottawa, arriving in Montreal.
Yeah.
Emna Lassoued, that's is it a French last name? Is it?
Yeah, so I'm Arab. I'm originally
Where are
from
you from?
Tunisia.
Born and raised?
So I was born there, moved to Canada when I was 4 years old. So
To where in Canada?
to Gatineau.
Gatineau, that's super French there. Okay.
Yeah, super French. So I grew up there, didn't know how to speak English, by the way.
Okay.
So when I was around 12, 13, my family moved to Ottawa. That's how I learned English, and that's why I have a little accent. People
it's not
point
that
that
noticeable though.
Actually?
I don't. Maybe I just got used to everyone how they talk here. I don't know.
Okay.
But,
Every time, especially since I started getting into acting, every person I speak with tells me you have a little accent there. Where is that from? So I'm like, oh, okay.
Got to spill the story.
Yeah, exactly. So English, my third language.
Okay.
So yeah.
So you went from Tunisia to Gatineau to Ottawa. When did you start acting? How did that come to be?
Yeah. Okay, so I'm Arab, so my family doesn't really like that industry a lot, right?
They don't? Nothing with the arts, anything like that? Or?
They say if you're going to do something like that, it really has to be on the side, but even acting, it doesn't have a great reputation, I guess, in their heads and my culture and stuff, so...
it's not secure.
Exactly, right? You're not guaranteed money, you're not guaranteed a future when you go into the industry, and it can be a little dangerous. We were talking about safety earlier. It can be a little dangerous, especially as a young girl getting into the industry.
Of course.
So they were really concerned for me, right? So they didn't want me to do acting. You know, I did take theater classes at school, and then I started doing acting
Was
classes
this
on
like
the side.
in like the theater? Was it like professional
No,
program?
no,
for
it was with high school.
Okay.
That's how I got into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I went and took professional acting classes when I was 15.
Okay.
Yeah, so I went with the Screen Acting Academy.
So what
which is-
what
mhm.
what you know made you decide? Hey, I want to go pursue
'Kay.
acting. Like, how
Okay.
does that come to be? You know?
Yeah. So me, I would watch TV, right?
Yeah.
And I would be like, oh my God, it would be so sick to be on that screen right now.
Yeah.
So growing up, that was like the only thing in my head, you know, growing
Okay.
up. It was
seeing
always
yourself.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was always that. And when I would tell my parents, right,
Yeah.
they would kind of turn down the idea. But when I started growing up, I feel like everybody has that dream of being like a star, being on TV and stuff, right? But that dream like kind of stayed with me. So I was like, okay, this is probably something I actually want to do if it stayed with me.
Yeah.
So what I did, I went registered for real acting classes, and that's kind of how it started.
What was your first experience with those classes? Were you scared, kind of frightened, excited, anxious?
I was so excited because it's the thing that I've been waiting for so long, because
Yeah.
I wasn't really allowed to do it when I was younger, right? So I
Yeah.
was waiting for that moment, and it was like a dream coming true just being in the class.
Yeah.
I felt so like grateful and
Yeah.
like it was amazing. Yeah, I loved it.
What was it like trying to like get into character, memorize your lines?
Mm-hmm.
Was that kind of overwhelming? Because you're like, oh my God, there's a lot more to the script than what you see on TV.
Yeah, so when it started, I started with theater in high school,
Yeah.
right? And one of my first big role, you could say, was Little Woman. You know
Okay.
the movie Little Woman?
Yeah.
Yeah, but we did the theater version of it,
Okay.
right? And I was one of the four sisters. Amy, I played Amy in that production.
Nice.
So
Okay.
that was a lot of lines, and it was definitely scary, but we had a lot of time to learn it. We had like, was it around a year?
That's
We had
crazy.
a little less than a year.
So what, it was like
to
2
learn it.
acts? What, like a 2.5 hour play?
Oh my God, I think
2
it
hours
was
or something?
It was around 2 hours,
Yeah.
but it was four or five acts. if
That's
I'm not
crazy.
wrong. Yeah,
That's
if
a
I'm not wrong.
lot of work. Yeah.
It was, but I had a great team. I worked with people that were amazing. They were so fun. I had the
Yeah.
best time ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So then after you registered for these acting classes, right? Where was the studio at?
It's Screen Acting Academy in
Screen
Ottawa.
acting. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
and
SAA.
then what kind of classes were those? Like, was it just like film,
Yeah.
television?
So they were. It's the screen acting program, so it's acting on camera,
Okay.
right? And it was a program of 4 levels, and I only got the chance to do the 2 first levels, unfortunately, because some stuff happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty much, it's a 4
Okay.
level class.
Okay. And then from there, you ended up in Montreal after, or did you end up booking any roles, any
Yeah,
gigs and
so
stuff?
after that, like my
Yeah.
goal was like get an agency. Like, let's go. We have
Yeah.
to get an agency to get into the real
Ambitious,
stuff.
of course.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So started applying around. Then there was a lot of agencies that would just be scams, right? They would tell you
Of
you
course.
have to book this photo shoot and it's $560, and then there's fees to get in my agency, $200, and then you're like, okay, you're gonna take my bank account, take my
Yeah.
bank account at
Yeah.
this point. Yeah.
Rob me.
Exactly. So
Wow.
it was kind of hard, but then I found this amazing agency, which is The
Okay.
Muse. I don't know if you heard about it. The
Here
Muse?
or where?
In Ottawa.
Okay,
It's with
no.
Lissa.
No.
No?
So
Okay.
I'm from like northwestern Ontario.
Yeah,
So,
okay,
yeah.
okay, you're not, okay.
No.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So with her, I signed with her, you know, contracts and everything,
Yeah.
and then I got signed on Actors
Did you have to
Access.
audition to get to her? Like go through the audition process, or?
I sent her a scene.
Okay.
Yeah, so she saw me acting, and I sent her my resume. So she saw I had a little bit of experience, you
Yeah.
know. But yeah, I was
But
kind of. Yeah.
she decided to like take you on after,
Yeah,
right?
I was really happy because after that I met some people and they told me that she's not taking as many people easily anymore, and
No.
I was grateful that I
Got
got-
onto the
yeah,
roster,
yeah,
you know?
yeah. Exactly. So for sure. So then I got an agency. Now I'm auditioning with her and stuff, and she presented me to Kino. Kino is like a Kino. No, it's a film like festival, you could say.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I do
Yeah,
know. Yeah.
and we have one in Ottawa that is every month, and you can create a film with that. So I kind of booked myself for the first film I worked on, right?
Yeah.
And with my friend Mila B, I worked with her.
Nice, okay.
We produced it together, we wrote it together, and then we filmed it together on my iPhone.
Nice.
So, but it was super nice. We really liked it. People liked it, and that's when I booked my first like role with
Really?
another like producer that goes
See,
to Kino
that's
and
crazy.
stuff. Yeah,
What?
yeah. So that's kind of how it started. And
Yeah.
on Facebook too, I would audition on Facebook, and I got a role on an actual real production with Innovate Productions.
Oh yeah.
So that's a little bit how it started, and now here we are.
I remember the very first production that I booked is when I came back from South America.
Ooh.
I was living in Patagonia. I arrived here and it was like December, right?
Yeah.
Come February, I did all my research on like, how to get into acting,
Yeah,
blah,
for
blah, blah.
sure.
And then there was an audition, open casting on Facebook for Molson Canadian, for the Montreal Canadiens and like the beer company and this and that. And that was the very first role that I booked.
That's right.
And
Facebook is really a good place to find like your
it's
first
underrated,
roles.
I think. I
It
think a lot of
is.
people need to realize when you first start out, there's some easy money to be made there, especially when it's paid gigs or whatever. And
Yeah, I
even
didn't-
if it's not.
I didn't book a paid gig, but
Yeah.
I like, it helped me build my resume.
Exactly.
And there's so many people on Facebook. That's a great way to start for the people
Yep.
that are starting up
And
in
it's
acting.
just networking, right? It's like even now that you're here in Montreal, it's okay, now you join these casting Montreal group and you know what I
Yep.
mean? Yeah. Montreal casting and
Yeah,
then there's a
definitely.
non-union whatever and you start
Yep.
joining these groups and you just browse it every couple hours and you'll be surprised at what you see and
Definitely.
there's still like a lack of how can I word this? Interaction, I find, like based on the group members, there's very little interaction when it comes to someone posting a genuine post, casting call, which benefits you, myself, and anyone else who's looking to get work, right? Because that just means, okay, well, either they quit or they just forgot about the group. And
Okay,
you know what I
okay,
mean?
Okay. So like you're talking ratio member with
Like interactions.
interaction.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
I've
it's
noticed.
true.
Yeah.
It is true, but I guess the people that are on there,
Yeah.
they can benefit from it. But I guess the others, maybe they just quit doing it. Or
That's what I
they-
think too,
yeah,
because a lot of people like they think acting is so easy, right? But it's not.
It's not. You start
No,
off and then you're
no.
like, shit, that's a lot of work. Okay,
Yeah,
gotta
yeah.
get on or give up.
Like what do you do to prepare for a role? Like if we were to, cast you for something, how
Okay.
do you how do you prepare?
Okay, so read the script.
Hmm.
What they give me, I read it to see the context. Learn about the context. Then I go over my lines, right? And when I go over my lines, I usually like add, I don't know how to say them, but like little things to make it more realistic, like either a cough or a gum. I'm chewing gum because the character is sassy. So
Yeah.
all these little things that are gonna make my character
Like
come to life.
nuances, I think it's called.
Nuances?
Yeah, I think
Maybe,
so,
yeah. Not familiar with the terms, but yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much to bring my character to life and give it a personality and kind of make it my own, right?
Yeah.
That's what's fun about acting, and that's what's nice because every character can be acted different depending on who's doing it,
Yeah.
right? So me, I'll bring something completely different than another actor to
Yeah.
the same role.
Because there's like 1,000 ways that you can do it,
100%.
even more. You know what I mean? Millions of
100%.
ways. So,
Yeah.
so from there, okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any audition horror stories? Any bad auditions where you're like, oh my god?
I did one today.
You did?
Actually, I think this was my my
What,
weirdest.
prior to coming here?
Sorry?
Prior to coming
Yeah,
here? Okay,
yeah,
so what
yeah.
happened?
Okay, so I was acting like a ghost. It was like a woman. So it was weird because you have to act like someone that has been haunting a house for 200 years. So you're terrified, but you're crazy at the same time. So I had to find the good balance between them. And then I put like blueberries all over my face because I didn't have fake blood. So to me. So it was such a weird
That already
audition.
sounds so bad.
Yeah, no, it was really bad. I did like eyeliner under my eyes
What?
and blueberries. So I was like just rubbing blueberries on
That's
my
already
face.
pretty scary though.
Yeah.
I mean, like, Jesus Christ.
And then my hair started taking my curls and like spreading them apart to have like a crazy like afro.
Whoa.
And then just my hair was like, I was terrifying.
Yeah.
I'll show you pictures after.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
terrifying. Yeah. And so my friend was helping me with the audition. He was like, okay, damn, what is going on? So then I had to explain the whole like character and stuff. But that's the craziest.
So yeah, what I would say that's pretty crazy. What I would say is like from my personal experience, based on what you just went through, would be there are more ways to appear frightening than physically. And that means like psychologically, like for example, I'm writing a script right now where I have this character as a stalker, but he doesn't say anything. And I think saying no dialogue and just being that stalker is so creepy already on its own.
Definitely, yeah.
That's power.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
So
yeah.
you as an artist now need to find a way, how can you bring power to a scary or creepy character without bringing too much into it? So if the advice I would give you is for this role, instead of putting blueberries and this and that all over you, would be like, sometimes just very little, or pacing, or the way that you're enunciating words is already creepy enough for this ghost who's been haunting for 2,000 years.
No, definitely, I'll keep that in mind.
So you need to think outside of the box. Never think like 95% of the other actors. You know what I mean?
Yes, Sean, you're right. You got
Part
a
of
point
it
there.
is like, since you're studying business, is setting yourself apart.
Yeah.
So that's what you need to do, is to set yourself apart.
Okay.
Think outside of the box.
Will do.
Right?
Will do.
Analyze that character. How can I make it interesting?
Yeah.
And the lines, you'll already know it. You'll already figure it out. Don't rehearse your actions or anything like that. Just be like, what am I going to do to separate myself from the pack? Right?
Okay.
Blueberries is crazy. I mean, you shot far left, but give you credit, you took that risk. And there's nothing wrong with that. You live and you learn, right? It's not
there's a lot of way to do it.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
fake
we'll
blood
see.
next time would have been good.
I don't have any, and like I had
dollar store. You can go buy some.
that is a good idea.
What's like one of the best auditions that you've ever had, where you just went in and you smashed it?
Okay, it was what. The thing is, right, I'm not that experienced, right? So I haven't done as many auditions so far, but the best one, it was, so I was auditioning to join an agency in Montreal.
Okay.
That's the one that's trying to charge me like $200.
That's crazy. Wow, still. Wow. I wish we can expose them, but we can't. But they know who
I'll
they
tell
are.
you after.
Yeah, they know who they are. So.
Yeah. So, okay, so what was it? Yeah, so the role was like a teenage girl that was confronting her boyfriend for going to prom with another girl.
Well, that's Sly Dog.
They just broke up, but still, she was like, I thought you were still going with me, blah, blah, blah. Right?
So much drama.
I know. Those are my favorite kinds of roles, though, you know?
I want to relive that life.
But yeah, so what when I like went to do the audition, I just, at some point I had like tears coming in my eyes at a time of the audition.
Part of the audition.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, and I felt like I aced that, you know? It was not too much, but it was there. So I feel like I did that audition pretty nicely and I loved it.
My piece of advice, I know it, I'm not a coach or anything, but
yeah, go ahead.
Remember, truthful acting is truthful acting. So if your character is going to cry, make sure it's genuine, but it also doesn't impress casting directors or producers.
Yeah, forcing it is not the way to go.
They see everybody cry, you know what I mean? So if your character, like when you're crying, there's a lot of things going on. You could be crying because you're guilty. Your character's sad, feels guilty, angry, happy. There's so many emotions that you could bounce that crying off of, and that's what already makes it interesting. Right? You don't just cry to cry. You're crying because you're angry and you don't believe yourself, and then you're flustered. And
but it has to come natural, like you said, right? So you're doing the audition, and then if you feel it, then go with it. But don't pre-plan it in a way.
Just let it out.
Yeah.
You know, just.
This should be a podcast about analyzing characters.
We could do it after. We could do that after. Actually, that's smart. We'll talk about that after, though.
Oh God,
Okay, so where do you see yourself in, like, let's say 5 years? If you could sort of manifest it right now, where do you see yourself?
Where do I see myself? I mean, I'm already in Montreal, which is something I manifested. So
which is like a step one, right?
Exactly, step one.
5 years from now.
5 years from now, I see.
Perfect world. Okay.
So I see myself traveling, especially to Toronto for roles, and hopefully booking a small role, maybe on a bigger production like Netflix or something in that level.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, that's a good goal to have.
Like a small role, you know, just to put my foot
like
in.
being a very humble role. It's not like, oh, I'm going to be the lead actress.
Yeah, no, in 5 years, like, you know what, who knows? But, but the chances,
No, I mean, always believe.
Exactly.
Always believe. And, you know,
I have these vision boards that I make since I was younger, you know, like, so I did this vision board when I was 16, 17, and I put it in my room, and it was all about like the goals I wanted to accomplish, and a big part of it was acting, right?
Yeah.
So I was just, every morning I would wake up, look at the vision board, and just like imagine yourself and feeling it coming true.
Visualization is one of the most powerful manifestation techniques. I
Yep.
do it every single night before I sleep. It actually helps me
Yes.
sleep at night. I don't give
As
a,
you
I don't care
should,
what people
as you
say.
should.
I don't care what they say. It helps me sleep at night.
Yes,
I feel
me
good.
too. No, definitely.
But there's also, like, I'll say a phrase because I do believe in the law of attraction and manifestation.
Me too.
So, I'll wake up every day and I'll say this phrase 7 times. It's my success is inevitable.
Period.
But I'll say it in the mirror 7 times because 7 represents the lucky number at casinos, right?
Okay.
So that's what I based it off of. I'll say it 7 times and I'll write it down on a calendar, on the calendar date. And I'll keep doing that every single day and I'll keep working hard on my craft.
Yeah, so
You know?
you're talking about affirmations now, right? So I
Yeah.
have a list of affirmations on my notes in my phone. Every morning, I'm trying to make this a routine.
Yeah.
Every morning I say that list of affirmations, and
There
it's
you go.
goals, confidence. I have confidence affirmation, love in my life, my family and everything. Acting goals, entrepreneurship goals. So all of that, I just phrase it and opportunities come my way.
Yeah.
I attract wealth,
Yeah.
things like that. Just make yourself attract them and make yourself believe that
It's
you
the
are worthy of
gravitation
them.
towards your soulful energy, if that makes sense,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Something
Okay.
like that.
Something
and
like
it works.
It does.
It's crazy. I'll share stories with you afterwards. Like, oh my God, what is going on?
No,
Like
for
right
sure.
now in my current time, it's crazy.
No, people that don't live with manifestation, I don't know how you guys are living.
I think, struggling.
Struggling.
Maybe, emotionally and maybe physically. I don't know.
I mean,
I can't talk for them. to be
No,
honest,
for sure. But
yeah.
try it out because, not
It
you,
works.
but
Yeah, it does
but
work.
try it out. It really
It does.
does.
It's a very powerful
It is
mechanism.
because it is proven by science. Because when you repeat it, you make yourself believe that it's something you deserve, and it pushes you, it gives you a drive to actually go and accomplish your goals.
It's true.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, 5 years from now, you see yourself possibly in Toronto, going back and forth, doing smaller gigs, this and
Yeah.
that. What's a dream role that you'd like to do? Past, present, or future?
I have
Yeah.
2.
Okay.
There's 2 that I really want to do. So one of them I want to act like, typical teenager, like in either a series or movie that is for teenagers,
So sort of like what series? Like Sabrina Teenage Witch, where it's like darker sort of, or like Gen V style, where it's like, based in like university superheroes, gone rogue.
No.
Like what kind?
No, more like, did you ever watch or hear about To All the Boys That I Loved Before?
I've heard of it,
You've
but I've
heard
never
of it?
watched it.
It's
There's
like
no
a
way
teenage, don't go watch.
No.
I don't think it's gonna interest you, but it's
No.
like a teenage, a girl. We show a girl and what she lives through as a teenager, and
Okay.
I feel like that's beautiful. Everybody has their own journey, right? But just seeing how someone copes with the challenges that
Yeah.
come their way, right? That's really
So
nice.
what I find weird is like
Yeah.
when there's adult actors portraying teenagers.
Oh,
I find
it's
that
always like
so
that.
weird that it's like, why can't you just get an actual teenager the opportunity to work?
You know why?
You know what I mean?
Because usually those roles require
Certain skill.
more
or what?
intimate scenes,
Yeah.
right? And they can't get a minor. And usually, young adults are not
Good
super
point.
comfortable with
Yeah.
that. I mean, that's not the roles I want to go for, personally.
No.
But usually in those series, especially when a teenager is the lead, right?
Good
Or I
point.
mean, the young adult is the lead of that show.
That completely even crossed my mind. I didn't even think about it. You know what I mean?
Because I thought
But
about
yeah.
it too. I was like, why? But yeah, I
For
figured it out.
legal reasons.
You can't get a 16-year-old to go
No.
do a makeout session with
No. No. Okay,
No.
that makes perfect sense.
Boom.
Yeah.
And the second rule, let's talk
Yeah.
about the second rule. I want to be in a horror thing.
Horror.
Yeah.
So any like franchise in particular? Like it could be like Freddy vs. Jason, Scream, Annabelle, The Conjuring, like
I don't
those
know
creepy stuff.
anything in horror because maybe it's just the person living through that horror scene. Like I would just love to bring out those emotions and that reaction.
I tell you
to-
though, if I were to do ever like a horror movie, like
Yeah.
regarding demonic possession, like Annabelle, I don't even have to act. Oh my God!
Emna,
Like
here it is.
I would be like, there's Annabelle. I'll be like, oh my God!
There we go.
The little doll is so creepy. If I saw
Oh,
that down
yeah.
the hallway, I don't even know what would happen.
Because it's truthful
it's-
reactions. I just feel like it would be truthful reactions, and
Yeah.
that's what's nice about it, right?
Yeah. Like Freddy versus Jason, like if I saw that, or like Michael Myers from Halloween. Ooh,
True.
I mean, he's the guy with the white mask who's like killing people. He doesn't ever
okay,
talk,
okay,
you know.
okay.
He's
Okay.
Rob Zombie had a few of the movies that he did for
Okay.
that franchise.
Cool.
But like those movies specifically don't creep me out, but just seeing them in costume, I think it's like so legit, so cool, right?
It is.
And
it
that's
is.
something that I think now the industry is lacking is prosthetics, you know, prosthetic acting.
What does that mean?
So prosthetic acting is like you'll have like someone dressed up as the monster. It's not CGI'd. You have a paid actor who's
Okay.
portraying,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, the monster or the villain.
You think they're lacking that in the industry?
Because now it's all, a lot of it's CGI'd. It's just like,
Okay.
oh yeah, there's a screen and you're gonna picture this monster and react to it. But
But you don't
there's-
have the real thing in front of
Yeah.
you, so it's maybe like it's
it's not
harder.
as genuine. It's a lot harder for sure.
Then you have to work with imagination, which is a big part in acting. Imagination.
That's true, right? Would you consider imagination one of your top skill sets?
I think it has to be in every actor. Every actor has to have imagination as one of their top skill
Yeah.
set, because that's how you're gonna feed your, especially on self tapes, right? That's how
Yeah,
you're gonna
it's
feed your
crazy.
reactions
Yeah.
and your performance.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think is your strongest skill? If you had to choose.
As an actor, or as an actor,
Actress, yeah.
and as an actress, would this count like perseverance?
Sort of. Sort of. I think perseverance, it's something that you go through mentally or physically.
Yeah.
You know, those are obstacles usually. But like a skill set could be like, oh yeah, just, you know, getting into character quickly or
Maybe my facial expressions. That counts.
so expressive. Yeah.
I'm expressive.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I can bring
You
emotions.
can convey a lot of emotions. Okay.
Yeah.
So when it comes to like
So, yeah.
the emotional palette wheel that you have,
Yeah.
there are, how can I word this? You'll have levels of emotions. So for
Okay.
example, you'll have sad, but you can portray like 3 or 4 different versions of sad.
yeah.
You know, extreme sadness versus, you know, being sad because a squirrel got hit by a car or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. We do work that in
Right?
acting
Yeah.
class.
So
yeah.
there's like the emotional palette that you'd have. And then that
Okay.
would lead to like embodying the character, right? And there's a bunch of different things that go coexistent with each other. It's like this wheel, and you need to sort of strengthen all of those skills in harmony.
No, acting is not easy.
I know.
It's not easy
Yeah.
at all. Like you really have to put thought and analyze and to analyze to be able to bring your character to life
Yeah.
and make it the most truthful possible.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
like a lot of it comes down to is like, do you look the part, right?
Do you
And
like
that's-
the part?
Do you look the part? So do you
Do you look
physically like, do they see you being the part, right? And that's
I-
part of something that you cannot control.
I heard
Right.
about this. It was like 70% of the role, 70% of the chances you get a role is from your physicality.
Yeah.
Right. So that's this thing with acting, right? You don't have control over your looks necessarily, except if you do
Unless
a
you're
little.
rich.
Unless you're rich, yeah. But so that's
But-
why it's never guaranteed that you'll definitely
book.
ever book, right?
Yeah.
Because some stuff you just don't have control over, and 70% is.
That's
looks.
crazy though. It's a
It is.
huge percentage, right?
Yep.
So it's either, you know, like a lot of the big actors though, they're not, you know, supermodel looks.
Because
Like-
that's not everyday people,
No, exactly.
right? And acting is
everyday
end-
people. So you look
for
at
sure.
Kevin Bacon.
okay.
Kevin Bacon, he's, you know, yeah, he's a good-looking guy, but not like overly attractive.
I see what you mean.
You know,
Mhm.
but he's succeeded because of something else he brings to the table,
For sure, for sure, for
right?
sure.
And it's one of those things where it's like the camera either loves or hates you, and
As-
you'll
yeah.
know right away.
And it's also your luck,
Yeah,
also. But
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't give it a shot, how will you know if you get lucky or not?
yeah, exactly. But it's also now perseverance comes into play.
100%.
Right? If you just stick with it, something's eventually going to give.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then manifestation, and you know, then you bring all these components together.
And
And it's
be positive. Because
Yeah.
if you're not positive, like how are you ever gonna keep yourself motivated to keep going?
well, a lot of people like they'll drop out, they'll quit acting,
Mm-hmm.
right? They'll be like, oh, okay, 6 months into it, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to get a real job.
I mean, get a real job and do it. That's what I think. Because
Yeah.
definitely you'll need something to survive off.
Of course.
Right? And then if acting picks up, then you can put a pause on the other thing we're working on.
Or eventually just quit. You know?
Eventually just quit. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I was talking with my friend actor, and he is a lawyer. Right? He's a lawyer and he wants to get into acting. It's like, okay, that's really cool. And then he said that he wants to pick up on acting, right? But he's doing like probably part-time and stuff like that
Yeah.
to be able to survive, and then
Yeah, of course.
hopefully like be able to survive off acting.
Yeah, and that's sort of like the general idea too, right? It's just like finding the balance, but also having love and joy for it. Because there's a lot of people that don't have that. Let's be
Yeah.
honest. I'm sure you've met some of them, you know, their egos are like through the roof or whatever.
I haven't
that's
been
just-
on set enough.
Okay, well,
You see
wait,
what I mean?
you'll see,
Yeah.
you know? And it's very unfortunate. That's sort of like the cold hard truth, but there are some that are very genuine, and keep them in your circle, you know?
For sure.
Because you, as an artist, when you have a good circle around you, the core, beautiful things can happen and be created, and you know what I mean? Just uplifting each other, and I think that's so important
For sure.
anyone who's in any type of art.
And you know, art is supposed to be fun, right?
Yeah.
So if you're not having fun, like, what are you doing in this industry?
Exactly,
Like,
get
go
out.
get a day, like 9 to 5.
Yeah.
You see?
Exactly.
So, yeah, pretty much.
So, okay, we're about to wrap up. I'm going to ask you one last question.
Go ahead.
What's some advice that you can give to an actress who's on the fence about doing it? You know, they're like, I want to do it, but I'm not sure. What can you give them in terms of like encouragement or advice, just to be like, you know what, you go, you do it?
How bad do you want it?
Wow, that's very direct. How bad do you want it?
How bad do you want
Yeah.
it? Do you actually want it, or do you just want the attention for it?
Ah, good point.
Right?
Yeah.
So how bad do you want it? And you're gonna, if you really want it bad, you're gonna have to sacrifice a lot.
And do that first acting class. Because you'll find out if it's for you or not.
Yeah, definitely, right? For sure.
My horror story, well, it's not a
Go
horror
ahead, go
story.
ahead,
It's
I
not a
wanna hear.
horror story, but
Story
my
time.
very first acting class that I took, I was so anxious. I was dripping in sweat. So anxious, and you find it funny, but you don't have anxiety. I was so anxious that I thank God it was so humid outside, but I blamed it on the heat, and I'm like, yeah, it's really hot, guys. And I'm just so
Oh my God.
drenched, right?
I mean, acting is also
But-
work on your personal level,
Yeah.
right? So you work on who you are, and you get more comfortable even in social settings,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And you, yeah.
So yeah, that was like my sort of horror story, but it, you know, it was awful because I knew what was going on, but no one else did, and I was fighting internally. And then I, you know, after 6 months of doing acting classes, I was fine. I was okay, you know. And now I don't even realize that there's a camera there a lot of the times,
you go.
right? So yeah, lessons to be learned all around.
Yep. It's really a character development.
Yeah.
The,
Exactly.
The journey of
Well
being an
said.
actor.
All right, so we're going to wrap this up. Thank you guys for watching another episode of Rising Stars. I'm your interim host, Sean Watt. This production is sponsored by Urban Eats MTL. I'll catch you guys on the next episode. Thank you, Emna, for being here. So awesome. I hope you had a
Thank
good
you for
time.
having me. I had an amazing time. Thank you,
Awesome.
Sean.
I hope to see you on set in the far future,
Yes,
okay? When you
we will.
get
definitely.
up there.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Sean.
Awesome. Bye.